Hi guys and welcome to CrazyPeppera Revenge. This channel is all about crazy true stories, stuff that happens in real life when things get a little bit messy, people dealing with drama, cheating, lies, breakups, and even revenge. Some stories are wild, some are emotional, but all of them will keep you watching. If you like real talk and real situations, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stick around. This is CrazyPeppera Revenge, where the stories get spicy.
End of the road, cheater.
My 6-year-old daughter Evie got hit by a car on Friday afternoon when she dashed across the street without looking. She wasn't seriously hurt, thank God, but when I called my wife Emma at the nursing home where she works, they told me she'd taken the day off due to slowdowns requiring full-time staff to use accumulated time off to avoid laying off part-time. Staff. The weird thing was, Emma left that morning in her nurse uniform like she was going to work, and she never mentioned taking time off. We always discuss these things beforehand. I called her cell, but it went to voicemail, which was odd since she usually answers when not working. Something felt completely off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Emma finally showed up an hour after her usual shift end time, smelling like fresh soap, the kind she uses after her morning showers. When I asked if the receptionist had passed on my message about Evie's accident, she claimed she got it but was busy with a patient transfer between Southeast and St. Francis hospitals. Too many small inconsistencies were adding up, and I knew something was amiss. We spent the night at the hospital for observation since Evie had been unconscious for a while. The next day, our family doctor, Ronald Foster was there examining her before we took her home. He scheduled a follow-up appointment in 3 weeks, emphasizing the importance of being cautious with young children after head injuries. The following day at our coworker Olivia's barbecue, I overheard a conversation that changed everything. Olivia, who's head of HR at Emma's nursing home, was talking to my wife about Dr. Ronald Foster while I was in the kitchen preparing my special smokies, premium franks that I always boil before grilling. Dr. Foster used to visit every Friday afternoon to check on his nursing home patients, Olivia explained. Now he only comes when you're on duty. It's making some of us wonder if there's something more between you two. Is there something I should know? Emma got flushed and clearly uncomfortable, avoiding the topic. No, not really, she replied. We're just professional friends. He appreciates the detailed reports I send him about his Alzheimer's patients' behaviors. It helps him manage their medical needs. Well, that's not what people are saying in the halls, Olivia retorted. Whatever is going on, it better stay strictly professional at work. Otherwise, these rumors will only get worse. I'll talk to him about it next time I see him. I have another appointment with him next week, Emma said before walking away to check on Evie by the pool. I muttered under my breath, she's lying. She doesn't have a doctor's appointment next week. Olivia heard me and turned, seeing the shock on my face, realizing like I did that something was definitely going on. I asked Olivia how long Emma had been taking every other Friday off. 3 months, she replied. She proposed the new schedule since she works extra hours. Most overtime pay goes to additional taxes anyway, so taking the day off helps reduce overtime hours and saves accumulated time off for family matters. I also learned that the receptionist who lied to me was Emma's best friend. You were lied to, Olivia confirmed. We're operating at full capacity. There's no need for cuts. As a firefighter, I know where there's smoke, there's fire. I assembled a team of fellow firefighters, sheriff deputies, and police officers, the same group that helped our colleague Glenn catch his cheating ex-wife a couple years back. They conducted surveillance while I stayed completely out of it to avoid tipping Emma off. The rule was, I had to stay away until they finished investigating, just like we did for Glenn. His case took less than a month and resulted in such thorough documentation that he easily won custody of their 3 kids. We met at the fire hall the next Monday evening. 13 guys showed up. 6 sheriff's deputies, 5 firefighters, and 2 police officers. I briefed them on what happened Friday and what I discovered since then. Everyone agreed it seemed like something was definitely going on. I gave them Emma's car description, license plate number, and her regular work hours from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. They asked for copies of our medical records from the last 2 years to check if Dr. Foster was still our family doctor. If he and Emma were romantically involved, he should have transferred us to another doctor in their practice for ethical reasons. During my 6-week night shift rotation, working 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., 4 days on and 4 days off, they had perfect opportunity to document everything. My retired neighbor even confirmed seeing Dr. Foster visit our house one Tuesday night, wearing a white coat that he left in his car before coming to the door. The neighbors stayed up until 10 p.m., and Foster was still there. The following Tuesday, some friends came over while Emma was at work and installed surveillance equipment inside the house. I wasn't allowed inside until they finished, so I sat with my neighbor, who mentioned the doctor's visit the previous week wasn't medical. I agreed, saying my friends were wiring the house, but I wasn't involved in that part, so my behavior wouldn't give anything away. After 6 weeks of investigation, they showed up at the firehouse during my last 4-day shift to deliver devastating news. They even brought one of the top divorce lawyers from our town, which meant the situation was more serious than just cheating. Emma and Dr. Foster had been having an affair for over 6 months, and it was nearing a breaking point. They felt it was time for decisive action. Emma planned to wait until the end of the school year, just 2 months away, before filing for divorce. On nights I worked, they were either at my house after Evie went to bed, or Emma would take Evie to her sister's for babysitting, pick her up from Ronald's house in the morning, and bring her home before I finished work. But here's the truly sick part. They were plotting to destroy me. With Dr. Foster's assistance, Emma intended to use claims of mental cruelty against me. They aimed to prove I was an unfit father and dangerous to Evie's well-being. Emma, relying on her professional background, thought fabricated accusations supported by detailed medical records they were compiling would convince the court to grant her full custody and reduce my interactions with Evie to supervised visits only. Their ultimate aim was to provoke such anger in me and my parents that we'd choose to permanently cut ties with them. The extensive 60-page report included dates, explicit photographs of them engaged intimately, several notarized statements affirming their 6-month relationship, and transcripts of conversations plotting how they could damage me. The most damaging evidence was a photo of our daughter standing at the foot of our master bed, witnessing a troubling moment, while they remained completely unaware she was there. I resolved to take action immediately and with determination. I would have Emma served after my last night shift, then file a complaint with the state medical board against Dr. Foster. We'd provide evidence from billing records showing he was still acting as our family doctor during the affair, questioning whether he falsified medical records to support Emma's claims of mental cruelty, especially since they discussed setting me up. On my lawyer's advice, I temporarily signed over my parental rights to my parents and took Evie on a 3-week vacation in my dad's RV. This protected both of us while investigations proceeded and demonstrated that I prioritized my daughter's well-being over everything else. If Emma had already reported me to child services with false claims, this showed my top priority was Evie's safety until my name was cleared. I finished my final evening shift and made it home in time to see Emma off to work. As usual, she kissed me on the cheek before leaving. Once she drove away, I quickly called my parents. Evie and I started packing for a surprise trip. At 8 a.m., my parents arrived. We loaded into their RV, and by 9 a.m. we were on the road. Emma came home that day to an empty house and divorce papers. When she opened the legal envelope, the first thing she saw was that photo of Evie watching them. She screamed, "Oh no," and fainted right there at work in front of security and her supervisor, Olivia, who had arranged to witness the serving. Her own family completely disowned her after reading everything. Her sister told her, "You and Ronald were trying to ruin him so you could cut Evie out of his life. If you were in his shoes, what would you do? We're staying out of this. We won't support your attempt to ruin your husband's life." The actor. Foster was immediately suspended pending investigation. The state medical board acted quickly because they had serious complaints with substantial evidence already provided. His medical partners forced him out, buying him out completely to minimize damage to their practice. 3 months later, the state medical board permanently revoked Dr. Foster's license for multiple ethics violations, primarily falsifying medical records for personal gain. His attempt to ruin a man's life to steal his wife was taken very seriously. Emma received a year's probation from the nursing board, and Olivia transferred her to night shift, which she absolutely hated because it destroyed her social life. At the custody hearing, Judge McDonald, the toughest, most principled judge in our area who made Judge Roy Bean look like a pushover, completely validated my decision. "It takes a special kind of parent to prioritize the child's needs," he said. Mr. Lee did this for both the child's protection and his own. Given the questionable conduct of both biological parents toward their child and the actions of one, he felt it was best to remove himself from the situation. The judge commended the wisdom I'd shown and refused to interfere with ongoing investigations that might lead to criminal charges. Emma's request for visitation was denied. She'd have to deal with my parents as Evie's legal guardians. The surrender of Mr. Damon Lee's parental rights stands, he declared. Doctor. Foster ended up working as an orderly on graveyard shifts at a veterans home, quite a fall from respected family doctor. When Emma got pregnant, he disappeared completely one night, leaving her alone and desperate. She had to live with losing everything while being supervised by the very people she'd tried to destroy. Meanwhile, I started dating Olivia, who'd supported me throughout this nightmare and helped expose the truth. She was a single mom with real integrity who actually cared about doing the right thing. Her father, initially suspicious because of all the rumors Emma had spread, changed his tune when he learned I was a firefighter. It takes a special kind of man to be a fireman. You're always welcome here. We got married before Halloween, and I got promoted at work to a junior management position with better hours, 5 days a week, 8 hours each, weekends off, and no more swing shifts. The beautiful irony? Emma now has to live with the fact that her ex-husband married her boss. She only gets supervised visits with Evie through my parents, and what she doesn't know is that my parents and I quietly regained full parental rights after I was completely cleared of all accusations. The woman who tried to destroy my life, ruin my reputation, and steal my daughter ended up losing everything: her marriage, her lover, her family's support, her career prospects, and most of her time with Evie. She's not a happy person, working night shifts while pregnant and abandoned. Meanwhile, I found real love with someone who has actual values and integrity, got promoted, and kept my daughter safe from people who would use her as a pawn in their sick, manipulative games. Sometimes the system works exactly as it should when you have overwhelming evidence and do things the right way. The truth always comes out eventually.